Next guest, Michael Van Vleck. He has been on with me now. I've figured it out. It's about 7 years now, maybe more. Absolutely.
Maybe like 200 shows.
Oh God, at least. I don't know how many shows it's been.
That's enough for syndication.
Well, there you go. Maybe that's what we should do. Michael, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do and what we're going to do. Because you said today you wanted to keep it simple. I'm already keeping it simple.
Yeah, we're keeping it simple. Well, so
first of all, he's the owner of Denali Real Estate.
That's right. So Denali Real Estate is an Arizona licensed real estate brokerage. We focus on residential real estate that is both sales and property management. We're most known for property management because that's where most people end up in trouble and they need somebody to help them get out of it.
And what think about you is you're all about arming people with great advice to make good decisions.
That's right. It's always information based. We're going to give you information. It's not going to be all gimmicky and marketing based where we're trying to sell you something. It's not that way.
Right. So today, the first thing you said you want to keep it light. So what's the first thing you want to talk about?
So really, when we've done different shows, I always try to do something a little different where we're talking about something that whether you're thinking of being a landlord, you are a landlord, whatever that might be, just different tips, right? How do you do screening and what do you kind of put in your lease agreement? We've talked about COVID and how that's impacted the real estate market. And today, I realized the biggest thing when I talk to new potential clients or people that are in property management is what are the issues that you run into as a client of ours that comes to us, what are the issues that they are running into when they have other managers? So, hey, here's 5 or however many easy things that you can ask.
5 issues that come up all the time. All the time. Number 1.
Well, when you're going and you're looking to hire a new management company, you always want to ask about the fees. And the reason I say you want to ask about the fees is there's different fees that companies will put in. They'll always say, hey, we charge a monthly management fee. That can be a flat fee, it can be a percentage, right? But they will have other fees as well. And some of them get crazy. I mean, we had a guy last week who said his management company's charging him a technology fee. He's like, I don't know what it is. Some technology. He's like, I also get charged from them a post office box fee. Oh. He's like, I don't know what that is either. But there's stuff like, they'll charge you if they go to your house to inspection. One client who switched over to us said he's getting charged when his property manager drives by his property.
Oh my gosh.
They charge him, I don't remember the drive-by fee or whatever it is. Some will charge you a sign-up fee. So it's like, hey, property manager, I want to hire you. Okay, we have to charge you a fee to do that.
And that's kind of sad.
It's insulting.
It is, but let's tell them what makes you different, because you're all about servicing your clients, but in a different way than anybody would.
For sure. Like in terms of our fees, I like to keep it simple, right? So in our case, it's $85 a month for property management. It's a flat fee. So if your house rents for $2,000, $3,000, $1,000, it doesn't matter. It costs us the same amount of work. So a lot of management companies charge a percentage. So if your house rents for $3,000 a month, you're going to pay $200 a month for management just because your house rents for more. It's no more work for the management company, but they just charge you more because they can.
Mm-hmm. So, and people don't know the difference, so they just go, okay. But then they hear things like this on the radio, and they say, well, wait a minute, yeah?
So, the funny thing is, it's not as funny, but it's funny when you look at it from this perspective, is people will come to me and say, this must not be real. Like, one guy actually didn't hire us because he felt I should have charged more. I'm like, hey, I can charge more if you want. Mm-hmm. But he felt like that we should be charging more for what we do, so that somehow, because we weren't charging him as much as the other guy, that somehow we were going to cut back on service. Here's the thing,
and I'm just going to say it outright. Some people think that when you charge less, that there must be a reason for that. But that's the opposite of why you're really charging it. Like, for instance, I have a show that people come on, and I charge an incredibly affordable price, but because I want everyone to be able to do something like this. And when you do something and you're offering something, let's say at $85 a month or whatever it was that you said, it's affordable for people to do. You're actually going to get more people than less people, right?
You're right, and it's consistent, right? So it's like every month you know what you're, and we only get paid when we collect the rent, right? So if your house is vacant or the tenant doesn't get paid or tenant doesn't pay rent, we don't get paid either, right? So that's the incentive for us. The only other fee we have is a leasing fee, and that's when we have to find you a tenant. It's a flat fee. It's $295. It's crazy cheap. Most places will charge you anywhere from a half a month's rent to 1 month's rent. So if your place rents for $2,000, your leasing fee is usually somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000. A huge dollar amount.
But you do it affordably for people. There's a lot of people that have many more than one house with you.
Yeah, but there's a reason why I do it at $295. Is that if you think about this, there's an actual conflict. Think of it. If your management company makes $85 a month for management, or if your home goes vacant, they can make $1,000 or $2,000 in that month. Which do you think they want more? Of course, they would rather do the leasing because they'll make way more that month. Mm-hmm. So, as an owner, though, your number one biggest cost is a vacancy, and that's the one thing you want to avoid. So here's the conflict. If your management company makes the most off the thing you want the least, conflict. Hello, right. Red flag. So the reason we charge $295 is so it gets rid of that sort of conflict. It says, look, we're more of a partnership. When the owner wins, meaning they have a tenant, they collect rent, right? We win too. If the owner doesn't win, meaning the tenant doesn't pay or the tenant leaves and we have a turnover, then we don't win either. So this is truly what makes it a partnership. This concept is why we're killing it, right? Is because everyone else is structured the wrong way.
And the bottom line is you are partners. Your management company, when you own homes and you're in the real estate industry, right? You want somebody to be your partner with you to help you make sure that those houses are all rented for. In your houses are rented out for like minimum 3 years max.
Yeah, our average is over 3 years.
Over 3 years.
But they do 1 year at a time, and then we renew if the owner wants to renew. It's always at the owner's discretion. But our average is over 3 years, which is really exceptional.
And you want that. You want somebody staying in there for a long time.
Well, here's why our average is longer, is because we're looking for those kinds of tenants, right? If you're a different management company where you can make more money, do you really care if they stay more than a year? Not really, mm-hmm. Because you're like, now the other thing is they get you, every company I know of charges a lease renewal fee. So if your tenants are going to renew their lease, the management company charges you a fee for them to do that, right? We don't. So that's a big thing because, again, if the tenants are there and they're staying and they're good tenants, then that's a win for the owner. It's a win for us because we get to keep going too.
And everybody wants a win-win situation.
So this is the big issue in the marketplace is most owners have no idea about this. They have no idea that there's actually an embedded conflict in this process.
Because they don't know what they don't know.
Right, so we're going to totally skip around, but this is another conflict, is most companies have their structure wrong. So, after we take a break and we go through this, we're going to talk about how the management company is structured in a few questions that you can ask in that capacity that will really give you insight into, are they structured in a way as the owner where you are on this win-win? If they're incentivized in other ways to make money in events that aren't good for you, there's a conflict.
You might want to question that.
Most folks, so what they do is they call around and everything starts to sound the same. They don't know what to ask.
And that's what I love about my show, because it is such great information for people out there. We know we have a lot of investors that listen, a lot of people out of state. You work with a lot of people out of state, all over the world. And so you can call him direct. His number is 480-626-4062, DenaliArizona.com. So I was sitting here. I'll tell you.
So this thing's on, and I'm like, I'm a hand talker.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, hey, I gotta.
No, I have to tell you something after that. But I have to tell you that as I sort of started laughing, because I was thinking in my mind, what do you look so different today from last time?
I got a haircut.
And you trimmed your beard.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden I went, oh, he trimmed his beard. And I was thinking, And I started laughing at myself.
I know, so I had to really focus. Because I was
No,
about to go off and like,
I thought I was going to die too because I thought I was going to lose it and I turned my head. I'm sorry, but it was my
why?
mind.
I don't mind.
Well,
You have to know, Carol, like
No, if I started laughing, what would we do? I would have to say, I'm laughing because you shaved your beard.
we would start telling jokes. I would just tell a joke.
Oh my God. Anyway, so,
I don't mind. Like, this isn't something where
it's not about that.
I don't mind.
It's not about that.
I want to have fun here, right?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I tell everyone, you're the one client that when they come on, something happens, like I'll laugh at something or whatever. It's just something. It's the energy between
Of course.
us. That's what it is.
And I don't come here taking it all seriously. Like, oh my gosh, like.
Oh yeah, but that other guy. Very serious, but he just is mad at the world right now.
Really?
Oh yeah, I don't even talk about it. Yeah.
Like politics, man?
No.
Just
like,
stuff that's happened to him?
just the world in general in life. Nothing's ever good
Yeah.
enough. You know what I mean? No matter what you do.
My mom's that way.
I like that. You know, that's
So
bad mojo.
heavy.
Oh yeah, and yeah.
You know what you find is because of that, like, I don't know. So anything that happens, she's like, this always happens to me. I'm like, Mom, this happens to everyone. You know what I mean?
Stuff
Like,
happens to everyone.
yeah,
You know, it's not. You're not the only one.
this chair it sinks down.
It is now. Oh my God. By the time you come on, Farquaad.
It's the peon
Have
chair.
you seen that?
That I
Have you
have
seen that show? It's Fiona is Princess Fiona is what's the name of that show? I got
Don't- Shrek.
Shrek. There you go, Shrek.
I wasn't gonna let you look it up because
Now,
I'm like, I
every
gotta.
time you watch Shrek, because you got this little one, she's gonna want to watch Shrek. She's gonna want to see it. You're gonna start laughing at yourself because now that's your nickname, Shrek,
Yeah.
because you shrunk.
That is a really funny movie.
My daughter was Fiona, Princess Fiona in the play.
Really?
Yeah. She was the lead.
Does she have any sense on when, like,
No, not
Like-
at all. Not at all. Which is really sad. It's sad because she really loves what she does, but
can't they just like space people out? Or I mean,
not right now. They don't know what they think. Like maybe 2022, maybe, maybe. So we are talking with Michael Van Vleck, the owner of Denali Real Estate. And you know, Mike and I now have been working with each other for so long. And even though we're doing this on the air with you, we also talking about a bunch of other stuff during the break and all this kind of stuff. It's amazing. I love when I get to know my clients this way. I love the way that you work, Mike. I think this is what I want to say about you, is that when I say you're about your clients, I mean, you're really all about giving them the best, I don't remember the word I'm saying, but not just when they work with you, you're all about integrity, but you're all about giving them a fair, honest way of doing work with someone.
Absolutely.
Becoming their partner is be huge for you. And I think people need to know this. When you're when you listen to Mike, he's giving you this information. Go talk to other people. He's fine with that.
I encourage people to do that.
Absolutely.
When the first thing that we do is I say, as you're calling around other companies, the idea of concepts like we're talking about today is so that we can give them that information so that they know. And I've had lots of people that have come back to me afterwards and say, Mike, I asked the questions you told me and I'm stunned at what I got. I'm grateful, but stunned at not just some of the answers, but it was like it came through just like you said. Like these were the answers we got, and we're glad.
One of the reasons why you are growing and huge and killing it right now is because of what you do and how you work with your clients.
Yeah, I think the personal touch, every client that we have has access to me, right? And this is one of the points on here of when you call and talk to other companies, who do you talk to? Are you talking to a marketing person? Do you have access to the owner? Because a lot of people, they don't, right? They will talk to a salesperson and they'll never talk to the owner. Usually the first person that comes to meet them is the leasing person who's going to lease the property. not the owner. So like I physically go and meet with every person before they sign up.
Now, the phone number to call Mike is 480-626-4062. His website is DenaliArizona.com. What else we want to talk about?
So we were talking about the organizational structure. This is part one of that, of if you're looking to hire a management company to help you manage your property, you want to get a sense of their structure, but you want to know, do you have access to the owner? How is it structured inside? We were talking about this concept of making sure it's a partnership and on the same page. What a lot of companies do is they have a leasing team that leases properties and then a management team that manages properties, and they're separate. So when somebody goes to lease your property, they get paid as soon as it's rented. So all they care about is get it rented. The leasing people, that's what they do. The management team, they handle it afterwards. So this is also a conflict for the owner, because if you have somebody that's just getting paid to find a tenant, they don't necessarily care who's the tenant, how long they expect to stay, or if they're going to be a pain in the rear, right? But the property manager does care. So we don't have it structured this way because that's a conflict. So all of our property managers are the people who actually show the properties, right? They're the ones vested in it. They're the ones that care if the tenant potentially would be bad or good. And they're the ones who generally want longer-term tenants like we do.
Why do people do it so differently?
Because it's usually cost and convenience. So these are the two things as you're talking to other companies that you have to be aware of. Are they doing it because of cost or convenience? Most companies do it because it's easier for them to just have the leasing people just handle it all at one time. But the problem is they don't realize that while the property management company, it's easier for them, it's not necessarily best for their client.
And I think you and I think on the same page. Giving more value is better than not getting the value and getting stuck with somebody who really doesn't do the job well.
And most people just don't know these things are happening. Like, one thing that most companies are doing now, and we talked about this last week, is they're using self-show lock boxes. So the leasing people don't actually go and show the properties. People just get a code and go into the house whenever they want.
I was insulted when somebody said to me, you could go to the house. I was insulted by that because I thought, wow, what could happen what's going to happen to me if something happens in there to me or while I'm in there? But I think, how can you possibly not show the house? I don't understand how anyone would do something like that.
It's almost like managing from a desk, and you can't manage properties from a desk. You have to get out. So like when we have homes that are available, we're actually meeting the people there. Part of it is meeting them. That's part of determining whether you would want to
finding out
them.
What kind of person they are, what they do, getting to know them. And
we also do move-ins. So like when somebody's moving into a house, we meet them at the house on their move-in day. We go through the checklist and inspection with them, take a bunch of pictures with them.
That's very cool.
Most companies don't. What they do is they go ahead of time. They take pictures, so they have them on file, and they say, just go to the office and pick up a key.
Yep, I know.
You're on your own.
Right, you're on your own.
And that's just how it goes.
But you don't do that.
We do not do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but
and
think about it.
That's good for everybody.
But the company has to go in there and take the pictures anyway. Why not do it with the tenant? Why would you not do that?
And probably your pictures that you took were a long time older too. Who knows how old they were and what happened.
But
somebody might have came in there on their own and screwed it up, right?
But even imagine if they took them 2 weeks ago. It's still a gap, right?
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. So I totally agree with you. But these are just some of the little intricacies that people
when you
just don't
sit
know.
and think about it and you listen to you, Mike, it's like it makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
But other people don't do what you do.
Well, they don't, because again, it's back to convenience or expense.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more convenient for them to do it this way. They don't necessarily save money, but it's a convenience. It's kind of like the application fee component. We don't charge anyone application fees for applying for any of our properties. Everybody does. Why do we do it this way? Because it's the right thing to do. We get more people applying because of that, because they don't have to pay a fee just to submit their application. That's crazy.
More people who apply, giving you more options for people, and also you're going to find the right tenant.
You will. So like in our case, fair housing is a very big deal for us. We abide by that in a very strict protocol that we follow in the office. So we process applications in the order they come in. Some clients that we have don't like that because they want us to lay them all down and, pick the best.
Eeny, meeny.
Yeah, we don't. You're exactly right. We have a published criteria to rent that says, look, these are the things that you have to meet to be qualified. If somebody submits their app, it's completed, they're qualified, then this is the one that we're going to work with and present to the owner.
You know what I wrote down? Mike goes the extra mile for you. And when he does that, not only is it a win for the owner, it's a win for you too, but mainly for the owner. If more people would understand what going the extra mile means, it would be awesome.
Easy to say, right? It's easy to say, like, hey, we've got this great process and this is what we do. It's very easy to say that. It's how do you apply that when it's 10 o'clock at night and something happens, or 6 o'clock at night, or 3 in the morning? Like, these are the things that you either do it or you don't. You don't do it 40 weeks out of the year, or you don't do it 45 and you're on vacation the rest. It's every day, day in, day out.
When I listen to you, I think of the things that I've read before in my past, and the way you do one thing is the way that you do everything, and that is the way.
And we talked
Michael
about
is.
that.
We
You're
did.
totally right, and I believe that.
The last two shows have been sort of about that.
Yeah, it really has. It's not only that, it's the way you do one thing is the way you do other things. I'd say that because we believe that also.
You said something a different way, but he said it
No,
perfectly.
it is that. If you do one thing bad, you're going to do, you know what I mean? In other words, like, you look at this and you say, if a tenant shows up and their car has got junk all inside it and they show up filthy, you know what I mean? Like, their house is probably filthy too.
Right.
They could say the same thing about me. If I come in and my beard isn't, trimmed and things like that, then maybe it means my house is a mess. I don't know.
It just depends on whether his website's done or not.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, there's just those concepts, and the other thing that we say is, the true test of character is what you do when no one else is looking, right? That's really it. When no one else is looking,
right.
Are you still doing the right thing? Or are you only doing it because people are watching?
And I would just love to have a show with you. And when we sat there and talked about this lunchtime with Mike and Carol, right? But honestly, wouldn't it be great that, like I said before, if everyone in every area, I don't care if you own a business, if you are an employee, if you gave it all, if you weren't trying to wait till it's 5 o'clock on the moment and just ran out the door, wouldn't it be great if we all were that way? But we all are not. Most people are, what's in it for me? What can I do the least to get the most out of it, right?
Absolutely.
And it's not that way. And Mike, that's what you're all about.
Yeah, I mean,
I love that about
from
you.
Starting this business.
I knew I liked you when I met you.
I mean, it is that, though. It's the consistency part that really matters. I think, if you're looking to hire a management company, these are the kinds of concepts that you want to look into. And if anybody, listening has questions, they can call us, they can email me. Our phone number is 480-626-4062. And I'll walk you through it. I have lots of folks that call in and say, Mike, I've got a situation here. My tenant's not paying. I know there's COVID restrictions. What do I do? Or different things like that. My tenant moved somebody in they weren't supposed to. There's all kinds of different scenarios that have come up. Call us. I don't mind. If I can't help you, I can at least guide you to where you can go.
He's all about educating and helping everybody out there, arming you with information, letting you make good decisions. And you know what? You don't know what you don't know. And what I love about the show, it's this great information for people. Maybe you own a place out there. Maybe you don't even live here in the state. It's okay, because he helps anyone from in the world. Actually, has people
you have
from
clients all over the world.
All over the world. But also, what I love about this is maybe you know somebody who owns a property. Maybe they're trying to do it on their own. They've just started. Call Mike and he'll help them with anything that he can. That number again, 480-626-4062. It is DenaliArizona.com.